Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
You're watching Rogers TV. This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Story, the show to encourage more women to explore the possibilities of using their skills and talents by participating in leadership roles within our community. I'm Tiffany James. I have the pleasure of hosting this program. Her Story is here to encourage women in our community to actively engage and use their voice to bring attention to issues they are passionate about, with the hope that we will get more involved. Please welcome my guest, Arlene Wright, a committed and experienced public servant. She served 3 terms as Owen Sound City Councillor and 2 as Grey County Warden. Arlene dedicated over a decade representing her community. During her tenure, she was a consistent voice for change, emphasizing the importance of accountability and transparency in governance. Her legacy is one of tireless dedication, thoughtful advocacy, and a commitment to shaping a stronger future for Owen Sound. Welcome, Arlene. I'm excited to hear your story. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I just wondered who that was that you described.
Oh, that was you.
I'm not sure it sounded like me. So it's nice to be here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? What brought you to Owen Sound?
Oh, my husband's job brought us to Owen Sound. He worked for Bell Canada, and we lived in Kitchener. And all of a sudden, he come home one night and he just said, "We're going to Owen Sound." And I said, "Where is that?" And he said, "If you remember when we were on our honeymoon," he said, "we went through it." And I said, "I don't remember." But anyway, that was in December, if you can imagine, and he had to be here in January.
Oh my goodness.
And so I had 3 little children, and I wasn't about to let him go without me. So we came up to Owen Sound, and at that time, that was in 1967, and there were not very many homes for sale in Owen Sound at that time. And coming from Kitchener, I thought we would just go to a subdivision and buy a house, but that wasn't going to happen. So we ended up buying the big home that we lived in for almost 50 years.
Wow.
And we just loved it. And we just loved Owen Sound. And I just fell in love with the city, and it was wonderful. And so they sent him away a couple of times, but he came back, and then he said, "Just leave me here. We just like it so much." So that's how come I ended up in Owen Sound.
Wow. So can you tell me who were your main influences in life? Is there anyone that sticks out that encouraged you?
Well, I'm not sure that my parents influenced me a lot. They taught me to do my own thing, not to be a mushroom kind of thing. That to do what I felt was important, that I was to do it. So, of course, they did. And how I got started on as a trustee was interesting, because Helen Johnson was our school trustee, and she was an excellent trustee. And then she was going to retire. So we needed to find someone to fill that position. And Helen and I sent about looking for someone, and we couldn't find anybody. We asked different people, and they said no. And then Helen came down to my house, and she says, "I found the person." And I said, "Oh, good." And she said, "Who is it?" And she said, "It's you." He said, "You're the one." And she'd go, and I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "I'll have to speak to my husband." But he encouraged me, and so that's how I became a school trustee.
Was anyone else in your family interested in politics?
In my siblings, and you mean in
Or your
my
father or your mom? Like, what led you to want to?
oh yes, they were very involved, but different sides, different
Oh,
sides. So it was always an interesting time around any election. Was interesting in our home.
I bet those dinners were probably sometimes
Oh,
interesting.
it was sometimes there was a lot of quietness. But it was fun.
What motivates you, Arlene? What motivated you to want to get involved in the community and run for office?
Well, I think just just because I felt that if there were things that were not quite right, that I should work to right them. And there were things that I felt were not quite right. And I must admit that my youngest daughter, Krista, was very difficult in her early years. And I had trouble keeping her in school. And when I did get her to school, she'd fight to come home again. And finally, the principal said, "You may have to take her out for a year." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do that. She's going to stay." So she stayed, and she ended up an incredible student. Even so I felt that I really felt that there was a need to work for children and to make sure that children were not forgotten. And I spent a lot of time in classrooms when I was a trustee, and I was encouraged by the teachers. We had wonderful teachers in Grey County.
Yeah.
And I would go into a classroom. I went into Mary Prout's classroom a number of times. Mary's a retired school teacher, and I was over to Derby School, and a number of times in the classrooms over there. And it was just good to go into classrooms to see teachers watch teachers work with the children, and they loved having me there, and I helped them out a little bit if I could. But it was also good to see that the children were getting looked after.
How long were you a school trustee, Arlene?
16 years.
Oh, wow. You must have seen a lot during that time.
Well, during that 16 years, I was chair of the Grey County Board for 9. But then I went on to be a president of the Ontario Public School Boards. And through that, it was, first of all, it was the Ontario Public School Trustees Association. And there were 3. There was the Northern Boards Association, and the Public School Trustees Association, and the Large School Boards Association. And we were all fighting for the same thing with the government. And I thought, this is crazy. Why are we doing this? There's three trustee associations, and we're fighting each other to get gains over each other, which didn't make sense to me. So we got busy. There was a couple of women on the other sides, and 3 of us got together and went to work, and we formed one Public School Boards Association. We formed the 3 into the one. And that was quite a chore because, they didn't come easily. Some of them were kicking and screaming into this, but we formed one association, which meant we were stronger to meet with the government, with the Minister of Education, with the Premier of the day, for the needs of the children. I've always believed that a teacher needs to love children. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go into teaching because it's 2 months off in the summer and they get lots of holidays. That's not a good reason to be a teacher. You need to love children first. That's got to be the first priority. And we fought to try and get that the first priority, but that we were not successful. That doesn't happen. Nobody asks a teacher, "Do you like children?" before they become a teacher. And you wonder why, don't you?
Yeah.
You need to like children in order to work with them. But anyway, so that's what I did as a school trustee, and I was honored because I did receive quite an award at that time, and which was nice. Anyway, that was my 16 years as a school trustee. But then when I left, I left the board then and took a year off. And that's when the ministry invited me to go on the commission. So I went on the Education Improvement Commission, and that was set up to form to amalgamate the school boards. That was in 1997.
Oh, wow.
And I was not really in favor of doing that. The object was to save money. It was to amalgamate the school boards, and that's when the Grey County School Board and the Bruce County School Board amalgamated into the
Blue Water
School Board.
Oh, okay.
And so the two of them came together, and this happened all over the province. Unfortunately, the school boards didn't see it as a money saver. Instead of having one director and one director's salary, they doubled the director's salary so that there was no savings there, you see. I mean, they did it, but then my job, I was one of 7 in the province. And we wrote a number of books on education, and then we were instrumental in forming parent councils so that there was a liaison between the parents and the teachers and the school councils. And they used to send me up north because the northern people north of the line, they don't want someone from Toronto coming up and telling them what to do, but they don't mind somebody that lives sort of close to them coming up and helping them. So they used to send me up there, and that was a lot of fun. I was up in Temiskaming and New Lisford and Hearst and all those places up there helping those school boards with their amalgamation. And so it was quite interesting. And that was 5 years I worked for the ministry. And I really enjoyed that. It was good.
Yeah, so education is a little bit of your passion, eh? To try to make
it is. Yes. I did enjoy that part. Yeah.
So then, what led you to want to run for city council?
Oh, that's another story. Because see, where I lived on the corner of 7th Street and 3rd Avenue, I used to visit the corner store on 6th Street. Well, I was in that corner store one night, and Ruth Lovell came in, and she came over to me, and she pointed her finger in my shoulder, and she said, "You need to run for city council." And if you know Ruth, and Ruth can be, it's
persuasive.
Yes, she can. And so anyway, she was after me about that. So I said, I'll think about it. So I thought about it, and of course I'm bored now. I'm bored silly because I'm at home and I don't have anything to do, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing, oh yes, I'll run for city council. So I did. I ran for city council. In the meantime, I was on the police services board, you see. So I was on there for quite a while. And
you, how many terms 3 terms as city council, Arlene? Is that correct?
I went on, I went on in 2002, and I come off in 2018.
Yeah, 3
so
terms.
I think it was, I don't know, four terms.
Wow.
I didn't have to run a couple of times. I was in by acclamation.
Oh, wow.
I think I only had to run 2 elections.
What was, during your terms, what was one of the most things that you did on council that you were the most proud of?
Oh.
Was it maybe when you left? I know that you said that we should have a deputy mayor position, and that happened from
the deputy mayor's position. You see, we called it when I first got on. It was called city council, county council rep, and that was fine. That didn't bother me. A name really means nothing, except we were missing out because up at the county, when you go up, there'd be the mayor and then the Owen Sound as the city council rep up there, the county rep. Every other municipality, 8 of them, had a mayor and a deputy mayor. And so the ministry would be doing something, making changes, offering handouts, money, giving money away, doing promotion, and they would have a meeting, and they would have perhaps they would say, we are inviting the mayor and the deputy mayor to come to Toronto or to meet us here. And I couldn't go because I wasn't a deputy mayor. I was only the city county councillor. So this was silly. I said, we're missing out. I'm not able to go because of a title.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anything so silly. So anyway, I went to council and I explained to them. I said, I'm sorry, but I said, we have to change it. It has to be called deputy mayor. Deb Hazel tried to do that, to have it changed to deputy mayor. She saw that and it was voted down. So I knew I had my work cut out for me. But anyway, Ruth understood it because she was up there and she knew what I was talking about. And so we did go through. So that's why it's now the mayor and deputy mayor.
Was there anything else from your tenure that you're pretty proud of that you've done?
Well, I certainly am proud of being the first Owen Sound, the second warden in the history of the city, and the first female, of course. I don't go for this male-female stuff. I go for person. I think women are just as good as men, and I mean, I might say we might be, no, I'll be equal. We'll be equal. But it was really. I'm really proud to be the warden for 2 years. I really enjoyed it, and I love being warden. And I was a good warden. I know that because I had the time to spend being warden, so I could do things, and it was good. I enjoyed that.
And we just have the new county warden is a female as well, and I believe she is.
I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited about that. And now I have not met the new warden yet. They had the inaugural, which I was invited to, but couldn't go because I was out of the country at the time. But I am going to go up to the county and meet her. I think it's wonderful that we have a female warden, and she will be very good. Yes.
Yeah. Was there anything you learned from your time as a Grey County warden that you take with you?
Yes, I heard that individual municipalities, sometimes they want to stay individual municipalities. That they find it very difficult you've got to build a trust, and it just seems that every time different people come on, you've got to start building that trust all over again, that it doesn't carry, and that's not what I like. I felt that what I really worked hard for when I was warden was to bring everybody together. It seemed to me that the municipalities were all working on their own and not blending together to get the job done. And if you want to do good things, if we want, I always said, if a good, strong Owen Sound will be good for everybody. A good, strong Dundalk will be good for everybody too. So, we need to follow through on that. And when you take a look at what we have, it's incredible. We have, yes, Owen Sound is the hub here. We have a symphony that is unbelievable. And we have a theater that is unbelievable. We have a hockey team that is unbelievable. I watched a game last night, and Owen Sound was mentioned at least 18 times, because the goalie plays for Owen Sound. So, and because he was mentioned all these times, they kept saying Owen Sound. You can't get better publicity than that.
Yeah.
And so we have everything here, and it doesn't mean that it's all local in the city. It's here in the community, and so we have it, and we share, and we need to share. And so we have a wonderful library that shares with everybody.
Yeah.
An Ontario library, and it's good, you know. These are things. So these are things that I believe in.
I love that. How would you encourage someone who wants to run for office in their local area?
How would I encourage them?
Yeah, what would you say to someone that came to you and said, I want to run for office, but I'm nervous. I don't know if I should.
Well, I honestly, I think you need to know. If you honestly think that you want to run for office, but you don't know if you should, then you shouldn't. You need to know that you should. You've got to have you've got to be strong about that. You can't be wishy-washy. So you can't say, I think I would like to, but I'm not sure. You've got to be sure. So you have to stand up there and say, I'm going to run for office, and make no bones about it. Just do it. There's lots of help out there for you. There is a movement there now that is meeting different times, having socials, encouraging women to come out, and women supporting women. And so there's no question that if you want to run for office, then you just need to do it. You just collect a few people and say, I'm going to do it. Will you help me? Don't be afraid to ask for help, because help will be there for you.
I love that. Can you tell me a little bit about what you learned about yourself on your journey? You've done quite a lot.
Well, I learned I'm not afraid to fly in little planes. I used to, when I was up north, we used to fly in those little bearskin airways, and so I'm not afraid to fly in little planes, and I learned that I can stand the cold. Boy, it gets cold up there in the wintertime. And just recall coming out of the place where I was staying, and I just didn't have a hat on, and I said, it's not that cold. And the driver who was going to take me to where I was going said, it's minus 37. If you don't put something on your head and around your face, you're going to freeze your skin.
Oh my goodness.
So I learned that. What did I learn about myself? I learned that I learned to accept praise in a quiet manner, because I don't like people fussing over me, and and so I did learn that I could just say thank you, and I don't give big speeches about it or anything like that. I learned that I could just accept.
It's hard sometimes to hear something nice about yourself, because we are our harshest critic a lot of the time, aren't we?
That's right. Yes.
Yes. What is something that piques your interest that you haven't done yet that you want to try?
Well, I'm not going to skydive. I can tell you that. That's not on my bucket list. I still would like to travel. I know that it's I need someone with me to go traveling now, and my daughter is wonderful. Both of them are wonderful, and both of them love to travel. And we just came back from a little trip, but there still are some places that I'd like to see, that I would like to go, and I just have to make sure. I have my young grandson is being married this coming August in London, England. Well, the wedding isn't in London. He lives in London, England, but the wedding's going to be out closer to Brighton, I believe.
Wow.
But we're all going over to the wedding, and but there are places I would like to go. I'm still I still have a keen interest in politics.
I was going to ask you.
Yes, and I certainly watch what's going on, and I have an opinion. Mostly, I do have opinions, and I'm not afraid to share them in the right company. But anyway, that's.
Would you be interested in joining committees or getting back out there and doing more? No.
I think I'm all done with committee work. I just spent 6 years as chair of my condo board here.
Oh, okay.
And that was a big job because we operate our own condo here. We don't have, we do the management. We're the board of managers. And I just finished that in September. And I'm also finished being chair of Lutheran Social Services. And that we are responsible for St. Francis Place and Court Place and Hope House and a few other places. And I'm still on the building committee. We're still, we hope to get the shovel in the ground to a 5-story apartment. I believe there's 42 units going to be in this building. As soon as we have the finances in place, we're ready to go. So I'm still on that committee. I'm still on church council, but I believe my term is up come January 31st. So I still keep in touch with the mayor and the councilors. We still have conversations, and I still let the mayor know if I don't think something's quite right in the city.
And they'd be smart to listen to you, Arlene, because you have quite the experience.
Well, I think this is a wonderful city and a wonderful place to live. And
I agree.
And it's getting better all the time. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What motivates you? What makes you get out of bed in the morning?
Well, this is funny because I don't like going to bed at night. I really fight going to bed at night because I think it's a waste of time. And but anyway, I do eventually have to go because I'm tired. Well, then morning comes and I really have to have motivation to get up. It's my cat that gets me up in the morning. I don't know where she is right now, but she'll sit there and stare at me until I get up. So the cat motivates me in the morning to get up. But I do have things to do. My days are full, and so I have lots to go for.
Yeah,
it's not, and of course I'm an avid reader, and I have books sitting around me all over the place, and I play bridge 2 or 3 times a week too.
So you're keeping yourself busy.
Oh, I'm busy. I am very busy.
I love to hear that. Arlene, we are almost out of time here today. Doesn't that go by so fast?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, it does go.
I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me today on Her Story. Thank you.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
I'm Wendell Clark with a word about winning. We all know it takes a team effort in any sport and with any challenge. You can be a part of the winning team that shuts out